Hey guys, welcome back to the Podcasters Podcast. I'm here with Kane. Kane, how can you make sure as a podcast creator you never run out of content ideas?
Well, let me ask you a question first.
Go on.
From all of the conversations you've had with podcasters, what are some of their biggest challenges?
That is definitely up there. Is running out of ideas, bit of a writer's block sort of thing.
What else?
The usual growing, monetizing. But I say those are the main ones. Struggling to grow it, monetize it. Tech can be a common one, and finding guests, because that relates to content, trying to find more content.
There you go, to answer your question. Crowdsourcing content.
Got it.
Is the best way to never run out of content is ask your audience what to say. So anytime I run a workshop, or we're speaking at an industry event, or I'm talking to a new client or a potential client, anything like that, anytime they have a challenge or a question, just write it down in my notes, because all of those people are an ideal listener to this podcast. If you're thinking of starting a podcast, or you're a beginner podcaster, or there's certain things you're struggling with, but generally most people listen to this are thinking about starting, or they're early stages. They're trying to scale up. So chances are any questions that a beginner podcaster at an industry event has might be the same as somebody who might listen to this show. So any questions they have, I write down, and we do them like this format. You ask a question, I answer it. Also, at the end of every single episode, I say, leave me a review and write your question in there, and we will create content that answers your question. Mm-hmm. Because I'm just crowdsourcing content. We rarely think of new ideas, right? We just go to where the listener is, see what their pain point is, and just answer their question. So my simplest advice is, at the end of every single episode, ask for a review, which will also then improve the amount of reviews you get. And chances are that people are just going to leave you a 5-star one anyway. They're not going to say, please help me, and give you a 1-star review. So, that's an added bonus. That's step one. Any industry events, step 2, ask people. If you're talking to colleagues or clients, step 3, go into Facebook groups, Reddit forums, Clubhouse rooms within your community, and just ask people what they want. And the biggest thing here is that I've definitely noticed is we all forget what it's like to be a beginner. Which means you forget the challenges and pain points. So when I'm trying to think, what might my audience want? Because I might think, that's really basic, that's not great content. Well, actually, that might be perfect content. But because, we've been in the industry so long, you think, that's so basic. But to them, this is like a glaring problem that stopped them from launching a podcast. Yeah. So of the many ways, there's 22 ways that, we can create great content, and we cover those in depth on our 3-day event. This is my number one. This is the most important for you to implement, and you'll thank us for it, because it will save you so much time. Just ask the horse's mouth, what do you want, and then deliver on it.
Absolutely. And you know how much we love talking about money. There's definitely a way you can incorporate monetization into that. And what I mean is, more so if you've built quite a large audience, but maybe you have a community, and it's a paid community, but as being part of that community, you get to choose what the episode's going to be. So you're getting content. People are like, I'd love for him to talk about this. That's you getting paid and getting content. And then you've got maybe something where people pay to be interviewed, or which people do, or like you spoke about on a previous podcast we've just recorded, a marketing agency where people pitch on his podcast. So that's content for him and money for him, and these people get to pitch. So you can, if you think outside the box, you can incorporate, and you've built a sizable audience, you can incorporate monetization into it. People pay you to give you content ideas, or people pay to be on your podcast.
So here's a good one, actually. So Jordan Peterson, when he's got a podcast and he was on Patreon for a long while, he had 2 elements to that. So anytime he was asked to do a lecture, he's a keynote speaker, he does that for a living, basically. He would say, yes, fine, but I'm going to bring a camera team. Have to, and I will reuse this content however I wish. And all of his podcast and YouTube content was him delivering lectures that he was paid to do, and now he is paid to monetize. Because he's chopping it up and repurposing it.
Yeah.
And then on his Patreon, one of his levels was one of his higher tiers was his audience would pay him for the privilege of him reacting to another person's lecture of their choice. So I'd be like, oh, Jordan, I really want you. Because there was this trend where it would be like, Jordan Peterson destroys X person. And he would have like a very articulated argument, and it was entertaining for a few weeks. And what would happen is people would say, oh, Jordan, here is this specific lecture. Here's the link. Watch it and review it on your Patreon or on his podcast. So he was crowdsourcing content and getting paid for the privilege of it, which is the perfect scenario.
Yeah.
Because you're getting both, best of both
You're
worlds.
paying me and giving me something for you paying me.
Basically, it's like going to McDonald's drive-thru and saying, I've got all the ingredients. Here's a $5, just assemble it.
No, they give you a $5 to then assemble it and give it back to you as a burger.
Yeah, so that's my number one piece of advice is crowdsource your content. You'll probably get more reviews out of it. You'll build better connection with your audience because they will feel valued. And most importantly, you can be a lazy bastard, which most podcasters are.
Absolutely.
So with that being said, if you guys have anything particular you want us to answer, leave me a review. And we'll
Didn't see that coming.
Yeah. We do read all of them, and we will create content that answers your questions. So until next time, guys.
Cheers.